Okay, so to make bird puppet, you're going to need a cereal box, something like this. If you don't have a cereal box, you could probably use a cardboard box, kind of similar proportions. So this will be cutting out a corner of it. I can't actually get this all the way under the camera because it's so big, so I'll be using a cereal box. Like this one, you'll need a kitchen roll tube, some barbecue skewers if you don't have these, if you have any bamboo canes from the garden. If you don't have any bamboo canes or these, you could probably get away with using a pencil. You'll see in a little bit, these are so that you can flap the wings of your model. Scissors, stapler, some PVA glue, some tapes if you've got them, ruler, a pencil or a pen. So move these to the side. And to start with, to get your box, and you'll be drawing a curve from this side up to this one. And this is going to be for the shape of the body of your bird. So don't worry too much. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. So I'm going to draw it with this marker pen so you can see the kind of shape. If you're worried about drawing a curve like that just with your hand, you could always get a big dinner plate and put it on and then draw around the edge. But what you want is a curve a bit like that. Now, the easiest way of cutting this out is actually if we flatten the box down. So if you take this and then you can see you can flatten it, and you want to cut all the way down the side on one side. Okay. And then you can flatten it. So you can see the curve is still here. So if we just use a ruler and you want to bring that line straight up to the edge. Again, you could do this with pencil, don't need to do it with a marker, but it's just a bit easier for you to see on the camera. We then need to cut around this line. So straight down there. When you get to the edge here, you'll be bending it over like this. And if you cut very carefully down here, what we're going to be doing is using this piece as a template for the other side of the bird. So carefully cut down this edge, turn it over so you can see this side, and you want to use it as a template. So you can see it's got this bend here and you've got this bend. So if you line those up so they're together along this straight line. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but this is a good way of doing it. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to use a pen again so that you can see. So you'll be cutting around here. Straight across here so you can see the point which it comes up to there, and that end of that line you just want to draw a straight line across there. So just take your time and carefully cut out all the way around. And then straight there. Okay, so keep these pieces because you're going to be needing them in a bit. But you can see you've got this bit left over. So while we're here, if we cut down this line, so we're going to put this piece to one side and keep these ones. Now, because this has got lots of writing and lots of different colours on, what we're going to do is we're going to put the box back together but the other way around so that all of that colour and all of the text and the logos are on the inside. So we just hold these down like this, and we'll be, you have to give them a push down because they don't really want to be folded in that way. What you can see there, that is the basic body shape. So you can put some glue on here along the edge to glue it shut. You could put some tape along the top and along the other side inside to keep it nice and strong. Okay, so now you've got the box closed back up and it is this shape. You want to get that other piece that I had you save, and it's got the flap on. Fold that over. Because that's the side piece, it should fit perfectly in the shape. So this is going to come round and finish off the shape that's your bird body. Now, to stop it from being so boxy, what we're going to do is we're going to bring these in, these sides in. So you're going to be gluing on here and then attaching it to here. So you can either do that with PVA, or you could put a piece of tape along here and then a piece of tape along there, or you could use a stapler. Once we've got that glued on there, and we're going to be going in like this, this piece needs to be shaped. So what we're going to be doing, starting at one of these corners, we will down like this. The same one on the other side. So a way of making sure that you're right, if you want to make them even, is if you just give that a measure. So that's about 2 centimeters. So just put a little dot there. And then you'll be going to this crease again. You don't have to be exactly the same, and you can change this going in and out. When we attach it onto here, you'll be able to see how important that is. So and at this end, leave a bit like this. And the same on the other side. You can see here they're not in exactly the same place, these pieces, or the same size. It's not too much of a problem. It'll be what you're using to glue onto here. If you score these, it makes it a little bit easier, so you can use some scissors. If you line up your ruler and just lines, and that'll just be making it easier for you to bend. So you can see now it's a bit easier to bend, and you want to bend there, bend there, bend there. Oop. So you can see I've got a little bit of an extra bit there. If you'd like, you can just take that bit off. Now what you want to do is put some glue on here. So I'm going to use a scrap of card, put in, yeah. Hold it down into the box, and you want to make sure, if you see that the edge is lined up, and push down on it. It might take a little bit of time to dry. Is you're going to be putting glue on here or here. You can also do it with a stapler. The length of this, it's important that when you line it up and you do this and you attach it, before you glue it, just check you can put your hand in there, because that's where the neck's going to be attached for the bird and how you're going to control it. So you need to be able to reach your hand inside comfortably. If you find that it's a bit too small, so it was down here, just cut off some extra cardboard. If it means that you lose these flaps, you can attach new ones. Scrap like this in half, and then you can glue onto this side and onto this side. So you can create extra ones of these. Glue's dried on the inside, and you can see where I have attached little glue bits here and here, and I just had to hold them with a hand on the inside and hand on the outside for a while with the glue for them to dry. I'll do these last two with staplers so you can see how you would do that. So you start off with one side and you make sure it's nicely lined up. You might need an extra pair of hands as it is a bit fiddly. You want to get your stapler underneath, like that. Push, and you can see there's a staple. Next one. And that is the base shape to your bird. We'll be using one of these kitchen roll tube to create the head, which you'll be able to turn left and right. And it's also the handle to hold the body of the bird. So we need to create a hole in the top of here like this. So first up, if you hold your tube on here and you want to get it in the middle and somewhere near this head. So you want it to be lined up with where this hole is. Carefully go. So you can see you've got a circle there. As we want the hole to be a little bit bigger than this circle so that it turns around nicely. If you are an adult or you have an adult with you to help you, then you can cut out this circle with a craft knife. But just in case you don't have a craft knife, you can do it with scissors. It's just a little bit harder. I'll show you how to start with scissors. You want something like a pencil to punch a hole through here first. If you get your pencil back, and you want to go somewhere not too near the edge. Now be careful that when you push it through that you're not going to hit your hand. But once you've got a hole in like that, just give it a wiggle. And then you can get your scissors in, cut up to the edge of the circle, and then once you're at the edge, you can go around. Oop. You have to take your time in order to do it well. So don't worry if it's a little bit rough, but what you want to do is you make your way all the way around like this. So keep cutting until you've got a hole like that this goes in. Now you've got the hole cut out, and that will be the neck of your bird. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that aside for one moment, and we're going to make some wings. If you bring back in the pieces of the cereal box which you've got left over, you should be able to get the wings out of the same box. So start with one. So you can use this natural flap on here that's already creased for you for the wing of the bird. So this will flap up and down. You want to make sure that the wing length here that's stuck on, you can see this is a bit too long, the wing's a little bit shorter. So if you just make a little mark like that, and you'll be wanting to draw a wing, so the wings will be coming out this way. I'm going to do it that way around so that the wing can come down. So if you draw it flat like this, so I'm going to go down maybe. Thing like this shape. You see? That one like this, you need to cut around with a pair of scissors and then use it as a template on your other piece of cardboard, line it up with this, and then you can cut it out. That is the first wing cut out. This flap here could be a little bit thinner, it's quite big at the moment, so I would cut down like this. And you can see this is going to be glued on here, and then we'll flap up. Now you can see how it's got all of this packaging logos and things on the back. So one of the things you can do either before or afterwards, but it's probably a bit easier before, is to either paint this with the colour, or you can stick on any scrap paper you've got. So you could use wrapping paper. I've got some paper like this, which is actually packaging which comes around the toilet paper that I get at home. And you can use PVA glue with a little bit of water and stick it on the cardboard before you even start cutting things out. So I have cut out both the wings And you can see here I've stuck on stripy paper that I've got left over, but you could just as easily paint it. And I'm going to fold them this way, like this, so that we've got some nice stripy wings that go up and down. So you'll need to put glue along here and glue the wings on. If you put your hand inside, and you can push up on the other side and push down on here until it dries. Unfortunately, it's a bit too hard to get at with a stapler, but the other way you can do it is with some tape. So you'll be taping along this edge, but then also along this edge here. What you'll want is the tape to go half and half over it. Before we attach them on, we need to put some holes through the wings, and that'll be for attaching on the barbecue skewers that we have, or pencil or bamboo, depending on what you've got, so that you can control the wing movement. It's a bit easier to do this before we glue it on, so I'll put that out the way. Turn it around this way so it's a bit easier to see. You want the hole not close to this edge, but near the edge of the wing. And you don't want it too close to these edges, because you don't want to accidentally tear the cardboard when you're flapping the wings. If you make a mark maybe halfway on mine between these, and then we're using a pencil, be careful of your hand on the back. Hole doesn't need to be too big at the moment. Easiest way, if you want them in the same place, is line them up. See that hole? Make a pencil mark. They don't have to be exactly in the same place. If they're off by a centimetre or so, it shouldn't cause too much of a problem. But that's an easy way of getting them in the same place. So next up, you got your bamboo skewers. You can just use one of these. Now the ones I've got are very wibbly, and I'm a bit worried that they're going to snap. So as I've got a few of them, I'm going to put them together like this, so that they're a little bit more the thickness of bamboo. If we cut off bits of tape and really nice and tight. 2 sets of those. So if you've got, I put 3 together, and I will go and get another 3 and attach 3 together, so you've got 1 for each wing. So I am going to put some glue on here on my first wing and hold it down. Now this might take a little bit of a while to dry, so I'm not going to do it on camera. So I've been holding this wing on, and it is nice and dry now and goes up and down. But you can add tape along this edge and along here to make it a little bit stronger if you're worried about it. If we turn it around, we want this wing to be in the same place. So you can see here I've made a little pencil mark, and that is about there. So I've just done it like this. You can see that it's about that far in, and you can do the same on this side. You can also do it with a ruler, but it'll be attached on like that. And you want to make sure that they're in the same place, that they're not offset like this, because then it'll be a bit harder to control. You want to put glue all along here. Same place, so it helps to look at it from above, the side like that. And then put your hand inside. If you lay it down on the table like this and push down, we're going to be attaching these through these holes that we've made, but I'm going to come back to that in a minute once both the wings are definitely dry. We can cut out the shape that we're going to need for the tail. So I've got another scrap piece here where I got the wings, and it's got some of the colour on the back as well. So this is where the natural bend is again. So we'll just push that over. We're going to use this part to attach it. So if you hold it up and you can just do it by eye. You want the connection to be a little bit smaller. Can you see those marks? Maybe I do them with the big pen. So you can see they're a little bit in from the size of the edge of the box. And the tail again can be lots of different shapes, and you can decide what shape you'd like, but I will go out from this. Do a curve, and we'll do some lines in that to create the effect of feathers. So what we'll do is we will cut that out. And you've kind of got this shape. Now you can try it out, so let's see if these are, yeah, so the wings are looking, so the tail will be at this end because you've got your head, the neck, which is going to have a beak on, so your tail attaches here. So the reason why you've left this bit, you see I've left that bit that isn't covered with paper, so I'm actually going to cut that off. And you'll be using this flap here to attach it to the end like that. And you can decide whether you like that shape or not, and if you'd like to make it a little bit different. So I think it needs to be going in a little bit more maybe. There we go, and then that can go on here. You can see it keeps falling down and you want it to stay upright. You can, once it's dry, cardboard here, joining the tail to the body. And what you'll find, it's a bit hard to show you when it's still wet, but if you do that, can you see there how it's sticking up in the air? See? Ooh. Like this. So I'm going to wait for this to dry and then I'm going to do that so that its tail sticks up nicely in the air. So I'm going to put it down. This, put my hand inside and push down here until it dries. That's the wings dry and the tail dry. You can see on the back here, rather than using a square like I showed you like that, I've put some strips, so that the bits which we cut out here and some leftover pieces that I had scraps of from the other pieces, just so that it looks a little bit nicer. A bit of decoration, as well as meaning that the tail now sticks up nicely like this. So we've got the barbecue skewers together, so you can be using bamboo for this as well. And we're going to be attaching it to the wing, so where you've put the tiny little hole with the pencil, you want to be pushing this through until it's about 2 centimeters through. And you can see that this moves the wing. What we need to do is put a little blocker on either side, because the more you use it, then if you pull it down really far, it's going to come out. And also when you push the wing back up, you don't just want this to be going all the way through the hole further and further on. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap a piece of cardboard around here. I've got some cardboard, like corrugated cardboard, and that's just because it's a little bit thicker, so we don't have to wrap as much around. So it's about 1 centimetre wide, is probably wide enough. First one I'll do with glue, and then I'll show you how to do it with tape. So let's put glue on the end to start with. Might need someone to help hold the rest of it for you. You just want to overlap it, and you want it to hold it quite tight, and then you want to squeeze it and wrap. So don't worry about having glue all the way around, but you need to put some more glue on the end here. Just make sure you do it as tight as you can so it doesn't come off. And you're going to want to hold that until it's really nice and dry, so that it stays really nice and tight. Let me hold it up so you got it around there. You can see there's no gaps. So one of the things you can do, if you keep holding it and it's not drying, is just put a peg on it like that. Okay, so you're going to want one at the other side here, so that it doesn't fall through. So another strip, and I'm going to show you with tape this time. So I've already cut a little bit of tape, doesn't need to be as long as that, on the end like this. If you put it on here, I've attached it with the tape, and then around and wrap it really tight. It's probably a little bit easier with tape than doing it with glue. Sorry about this light. Okay, so you can see it's wrapped all the way around. Another piece of tape. fiddly, so if you've got someone helping you, it might be a bit easier. But okay, so you can see that's not quite dried yet, but you can see how both sides have got these blockers. Now you've got them both on, you can pull these, hold them together, pull them up and down, and you've got your wing movement. Unfortunately, you've just got a hole for a head. So next up, we're going to be getting the tube and we're going to be making a beak and some eyes on it. So I'm going to put this to one side. We're going to be making a beak and head on the neck of your bird. So I've used an edge of a cereal box that I've got left over from before. But basically the size you need is when you've got this in here, you need to think about how big you want your beak on your bird to be. How wide you want it here. This is quite wide. I think I'd like a little bit thinner than that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half this way to begin with. And I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. Now you can draw a line with a ruler and cut this out, or you can just do what I've done, which is just do it loosely. Ways you can do this, but basically once you've got this long piece, what you're going to be doing is attaching it on to the tube. So you can use a stapler for this, it's probably easiest like that. So what you want this bit to be turned into a beak shape. So I've got a scrap here that's a bit like a triangle, so I can show you. So you can see you could make that into a beak shape by cutting this piece here down, but you could also do all sorts of different shapes. I've got a scrap piece here from something else I was making, so you could have a beak shape that's something a bit more like that. So the shape is really up to you. You can leave a bit sticking out like this, or you could wrap it all the way around and just have the beak sticking out. So I think I'm going to do it like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little pencil mark here from where that crease was when I was wrapping it around. Can you see? Little pencil mark. We're going to turn this into a beak shape. So I'm going to do one that goes around like this, like a bill on the top, and that's going to stick out. Remember again that you can cover this, or you can use the colour on this side if it's plain, but you can cover it in paper like this one is. So you can see where that line is there, and what you want to do is you want to put glue on the inside, and this is now dry. So what we're going to be doing is putting this back on here. Now I think I'm going to leave this bit sticking out and add some bits to it, some feathers coming out of his head that I'll show you in a minute. So you could of course add glue all the way along the inside of this and to here, but you're going to have to wait for quite a while for it to dry, or you can use a stapler again. What I would do is I'd hold it very tight like this, and you could put a staple in the middle here, a staple in the middle there, and you can see that that's stuck like that. And then you can add some glue here. Either hold it till it dries, or add a couple of pegs on. And then you can go to the circles you've cut out and have a think about whether the size is what you're after. Maybe you want to add some colour to the beak. Oh, maybe you could add a bottom half. Okay, so you can see here I've got the eye on, and I've actually added a bottom part of the beak because of the shape, and I've added some feathers out here. And you can see these are just from the leftover bits that I cut out. You can just stick them on like this. And the head moves up and down with your hand inside. And I'll have to move the camera as it's a bit too big now to be able to see.